forgot to start the recording. Now it started. It was solid though. I'm not sure if it was edited on the beat. I wasn't really, like on the beat of the music, I wasn't really paying attention. But it wasn't anything that really stood out to me. But it also wasn't anything that made me go like, okay, awful. So I think I'm giving this a C+. I think C+ is like a fairly average grade. Music choice, dude, what was that trailer again? What was that song again? Sorry. I've heard it before. It's really good. Like the music choice on like peak. Like this was just like straight up early 2000s EDM. It fit to the racing, fit to the night scene. Music choice, definitely an A. 100%. I'm a big fan of the music. I need to figure out what song that is. Creativity. There was actually a lot of things that stood out to me in the trailer that really surprised me. I think the first thing was this... Like, we saw him assembling the car, which already, I think, is cool in of itself. Like, this dude drives into the garage on a stock car and then customizes it. Having that be the start is already cool. This I found really interesting. Having the shot where he pulls the foil off the vinyl here. First of all, that looks really satisfying. And it's something you don't really see or think about ever in these games. So definitely points for that. The general idea, you know, I think is also really cool. He just pulls up in the stock car in the garage and then tunes it and then gets into a race. There's a lot of cool things in the car meet that you see here. Like the money on the table. Definitely cool idea. And then also the ending with the car hitting the camera. And then the the stop sign falling down. I think this is a really creative... Oh, the PlayStation 2 emulator is still open. Oops. Very creative trailer. I will definitely say. So I think in terms of creativity, I'm also giving this an A. Yeah, I'm also giving this an A, for sure. I was Killer by Way Out West. Yeah, super good song. Super good song. How well does it represent the game? I would say pretty well. A large focus is on the car meet, which is not in the game. There are no car meets in this game. You can talk to rivals and do bets and stuff, but there's not really like any car meet. Betting, it did show betting. That's actually good representation. It was good. I can see how this trailer might give some people the wrong idea. But it kind of shows what the game is about. Overall, I think representation, I'll give this a B. For sure. And then final grades, if we put all of this together, I think overall, I'm not taking like the average of this, but final grade, I would give this trailer like an A-. This is just what I feel. This is a really good trailer. That I think only like in terms of editing wasn't anything special, but that's fine, right? Cinematography was really interesting, music choice was really creative. I think it represents the game reasonably well. So I'd still give this an A-. Really strong trailer, honestly. Very good. Okay. Bring on the next one. So next we have Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 intro. I definitely know this one. Although I'm actually not that familiar with Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 in general. I only played it like a couple of times, but this trailer is super iconic. So let's watch it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, very nice. Oh! I think you can do that in the game though. Oh, that shot, I almost want to repeat. Oh man. I almost want to rewind. Ah, yeah, and this... Oh, this is so 2000s, man. Yeah, okay. That's pretty peak. It's pretty peak. There's a reason why this one's iconic. But let's try to break it down. So cinematography, I think, is definitely an easy A. Like, I think that's not a debate. There's so many cool shots here. Like, you start with this already. Like, the swerving between traffic. You have... Oh, dude, it's way too much, man. This here was super cool. How he hits the camera and then it shows it from the other side, driving away. You see the dust here. That the car kicks up. You have this shot here where it kind of... You don't see where the car is going at first, but then you get the resolution right after. Which is super cool. All the cars behind... All the cop cars. And then you have these two cars converging that you saw earlier. Right? Like that split apart earlier. And they kind of both converge again. Which, good representation, by the way, again. We'll get to that later. This also super cool. How the Lambo flashes its lights. Super, super sick. Like, that's all good cinematography. And this is probably the best thing. This is probably the best thing I could say about cinematography here. This shot right there. So iconic. So cool. The Cop Diablo drifting. Really showing off that it's not just a bunch of Crown Victorias. Yeah. Great cinematography, so many cool shots, and obviously, I mean, this one. That's peak. That's so iconic. All the cars just stop in midair, the camera goes in. Like, this is cinematography, this is A. Straight up A. In terms of editing, I would also give this an A. It does some really interesting things in the beginning that you probably missed. Right? Like, you have all of the different color filters. Like, see, the colors invert here, then it kind of goes to this, like, more desaturated shot. To me, this is interesting editing, right? When you can tell they were kind of playing around. I think everything works. It's fast-paced, but not super disorienting. But other than that, like, the editing is fine. I think the slow motion here, peak. Slow motion here, I think, to me, is also partially editing. And then you have the logo come up here. Kind of flashbangs you a little bit. Like this here. This is good editing, but it doesn't, like, blow my socks off. There's some cool ideas here, but editing is just fine. So I'm giving editing B+. Music choice, though, no debate. A again. It's perfectly, like, super 2000s. Right? But it fits. Gets the adrenaline going. It's super cheesy, but, you know, it's an early 2000s game. You gotta roll with the cheese, you know. Now, creativity, I kind of talked about this earlier. How the Ferrari and the Lambo, they kind of split paths. And then they kind of converge again. Then the cop car joins in. That one shot where the car spins. Like, also super creative. Cool stuff here. I mean, there's an A- though, I think. Not every shot is, like, super creative. That's okay, though. And in terms of representation, I think this perfectly represents the game. I think it benefits because Hot Pursuit 2 is a fairly simple game. But the splitting paths... It's not even something that I noticed before. That they showed this as a feature in this trailer. Or in this intro. It's not even something I noticed, like, actively. But it's actually a really good representation. Other than that, all the cars you see here are in the game. Yeah, this is great. A for representation. So putting these together, I probably give this another A- though? Or do I give this a full A? Technically, I shouldn't give this a full A because we have one A- and one B+. Yeah, I think I'm giving this an A-. I think A- is still good, great. To me, I think I enjoyed this just as much as the Juice trailer. So I think that's fine. Does beta and alpha trailers count in it? You can still submit it to the forum if you want. You can still submit trailers if you want and other stuff. You can actually do that spin camera thingy in the game. Oh, true. Yeah, you're right. I totally forgot that. That's actually amazing representation. In fact, actually, you know what? I think this deserves an A+ in representation. There's no misunderstandings about what's in the game. At all. It even shows, like, the helicopter, the roadblocks. This gets actually an A+ for me in representation, the more I think about it. This is perfect. So yeah, overall, definitely A- deserved. Yeah, representation, the more I think about it, the better it gets, actually. Man. Alright, we're moving on. This I think is easily the single most submitted trailer of all time in the forum. Casper is also possible in Iron 1. Really? I didn't know. I mean, it makes sense that the code is still there. But yeah, E3 announcement trailer of The Crew 1 got submitted a ton of times. And I actually still remember it as being insanely good. And I still remember a lot of scenes, which I think goes to show how memorable this really was. So, yeah, let's give this another watch. Oh. Holy shit. Okay. There's so many details there. You can watch that 10 times and you'll still see something new. Oh, dude, the music. First person view, something you can do in the game. Jesus, man. Damn. Man, what happened to the crew, dude? Watching this. I look so good too, man. What a shot. That's so good, dude. Man. Another big reveal. It's all an MMO. Never drive alone. I forgot that was their slogan, their tagline. Yeah, okay, I think we just witnessed peak, guys. I don't I think it's gonna get better than this. Oh. I think we just witnessed peak. Yeah, okay, how the fuck am I gonna grade this one? Okay, cinematography. There was way too many cool shots to count. The first ones are already interesting. You have various shots like from the city that are super dynamic. This, dude. You have this cockpit view here. From, I think, the cop car. Actually, it might not have been the cop car. No, it's not. Super interesting. You have... I don't even remember all of it, dude. At one point there was the... You had the... I think it was here. Flashing the lights, like kind of showing off, you know, hey, see what I did there? You had this here. The slow-mo down the... Man, where do I stop? Where do I stop with this? This shot was peak. Yeah, this here. This to me is also like peak cinematography. These cars close together here, only like inches. And then obviously this at the end. This far zoom out shot. Like if this trailer does not deserve an A+ in cinematography, I don't know what does. That is A fucking plus. Let's be real. So many interesting shots. I couldn't even show off all of them. Editing, I think was cool. The various slow-mo, it's simple editing, but really well done. Right? You have this kind of shot here, like this for example already, right? How these two shots connect of the car and the wheel is so clever. You have so much, dude. All of this kind of works together. It flows nicely. Works with the music. See, like, how this shot is actually the same, just more zoomed out, so that it can show the... show the raptor here. You have this awesome slow motion shot here. You have... dude, I can't stop gushing about this trailer, man. It's just way too good. Oh, these two shots connect as well, almost. Actually, never mind. These here do. That's so cool. You see, the angle is the same here. And then obviously this slow motion here. Yeah. That's a straight A in editing, for sure. Music choice. A+. A+, and I'll tell you why it's A+ and not plus. Because not only does it fit, it's unique, right? The reason why I gave music choice an A or an A- on the Juice trailer and the Opposite 2 intro is because the music was good and it fit, but to an outsider, it might just be generic EDM and generic rock music. That was its own thing. I don't know what genre of music that is, but that was its own thing. That's music that screams The Crew to me. 100%. And creativity, I'm also like, how is this not an A+ in creativity? The entire idea that the car kind of assembles itself and transforms over time based on what the mission requires and where they are. Like it's basically just a street spec car in the streets here, in the town. Then it kind of transforms into, I think this is like a performance car here when it's kind of like on the highways here or outer cities. Then transforms into this raid car to then transform into, actually just, I think like dirt car, I think it is in the game. Oops. To then transform into the raid car that can hit the truck. And then come back around. And that's just one thing. That's just one thing. A+ in creativity. Representation, though. This is where I'm gonna have to be a little harsh, unfortunately. This has been almost straight A+ so far. But if we're being honest with ourselves, yes, there are things in this trailer that represent the game well. Like the auto car transformation, right? That you can turn a car into like various different specs. That there are cops in the game. That is generally like a more street racing focused game. The truck scene is bullshit. Like the transporter truck scene. I'm not sure if that's something you were able to do in the game. Like get into a crew and then rob these transport trucks. I don't think that's something you can do in the game. You might be able to. I haven't played this game in multiplayer too much. And also, I'm sorry, there's not this much going on in the game. They were maybe a bit too ambitious with this. There are not actually that many players in the game. Like, sure, it's an MMO, but only on paper, in my opinion. Only on paper. There's not actually this much crap happening here in the game. So I'm gonna be honest, representation for me is just a B. I kind of was thinking about either B plus or B minus, but I think just a B. It mostly represents the game well. There's just one or two things in here where I'm just like, this probably gives people the wrong idea. Currently there's 0 players. Yeah, that's indeed. So that actually, in terms of that last shot, it's a failing grade. Thank you, Ubisoft. Okay. Yeah, the scale is massively misrepresented. But also, I think once again, the truck thing. Like the transport truck. You can't do that. That's not a mission in the game. That you kind of like gang up with a crew and you take out like a... At least I don't think so. It might be. But yeah, so that representation is already getting a B. That being said though, I think overall final grade for this is still an A. I don't care about the representation. This has been such a loaded... This trailer has been loaded with peak. Okay? It's been loaded with peak. So I don't care. I don't care about the representation. This is a trailer that I think you can easily just rewatch for fun, and it's still just as cool the 10th, 20th, 30th time you watch it. It's, dare I say it, absolute cinema. Absolute cinema. Yeah, exactly. I think the last shot is a little bit... The last scene is sus. They make the map look bigger than it actually is. They make the player density more dense than it actually is. That last shot is really the only problem I have with the representation. Other than that, it was actually cool. Like, you have street racing in this, you have dirt racing, or like just generally dirt driving, you can transform cars. Everything up to that point, totally accurate. Everything up to that point, you can do in the game. It's just that the player density and I think the scale of the map was a little bit exaggerated. Once again, still think this is fine for B though. I could be harsh and say B minus. But that was only the last part of the trailer. The vast majority was still more than fine. Okay, definitely A grade for the crew though. Super cool trailer. Still fun to watch even today. And my god, what happened? What happened to the crew, dude? I feel like that trailer had so much more direction and interesting ideas going. What happened, dude? Man. It made me realize how cool the crew used to be, even if the game wasn't like as great. Which, by the way, I don't think I mentioned this. The actual quality of the game doesn't matter here. We don't take that into account. So just saying. Okay, we move on. We got the launch trailer for Need for Speed. What happened to the quality? Why is it so low? This is on the official PlayStation account. You have to be kidding me. Okay. Did I delete all of this here? Okay. Alright, let's go.
Yeah, we don't want nobody telling us what to do. We don't want nobody pushing us around.
But tell me, just what is it that you want to do?
Well, we want to be free. We want to be free to do what we want to do. We want to be free to ride. We want to be free to ride our machines without being hassled by the man. We want to have a good time. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a party. Yeah!
Oh yeah. Nice, dude. Very nice. Oh yeah. Yeah, that definitely made the game look a million times cooler than it is. Yeah, that was once again cinema. For sure. Okay. There were, starting with cinematography, there were once again so many cool shots. Like we have peak after peak after peak here. I love the composition of showing all of these icons. That's what they're called in the game. And mixing it with the in-game footage. It actually fits right in. And so many interesting shots. You have this one here, which looks super cool. Why is it so laggy? What the hell? This one, which is cool. That one's cool. How that continues. This one's awesome. This one's awesome. Like, pretty much every shot here is art, honestly. I don't think there's a single boring or uninteresting shot in this entire trailer. Everything here looks good. And then, once the cop gets crashed out, you have a bunch of cool ones here. You have this one where the cop just kind of wipes out. And then obviously the end, how the cars come together. This here. Really good. Cinematography. A+. Nothing boring about this. Nothing boring. Editing, I think they did actually some interesting things with the editing that you might not have noticed. So for example, they matched the color filters of these scenes and just generally the color grading to fit with the in-game graphics, which I think is really cool. Doesn't feel out of place, right? That's why these scenes flow as well together as they do, because stylistically it looks the same, which is cool. You have this here, right? Like this kind of like security camera overlay, which also totally works with the style of the game, right? Only shows up for a second, or like half a second. And then obviously you have the song that just kind of slows down, stops for a second when the cop car crashes out, then slowly picks up again, and then picks up near the end, which is really, really satisfying. And then you have this like really cool text here. Like this to me is also good editing. Usually I don't like if there's too much text in these trailers and intros and whatnot. This one was done really tastefully with a cool, nice effect that looks cool, transitions into the logo. Yeah, great editing. Great editing. Editing is another A. It's a good example. Music choice, I don't think it gets better than this. I think in terms of music choice, it's so iconic. It's Gangsta's Paradise. I gotta say, it maybe lays it on a little thick, if I'm being honest. But it's iconic. It's great. It fits the street racing. Music choice A+. Creativity, I think this is also a really creative trailer. Because of, you have the icons going back and forth. You have, as I mentioned already, the camera overlay was pretty cool. I don't think there's like too much about it that is super interesting beyond that, though. There wasn't really much that really surprised me in some way. It's just a really cool trailer. I think this at the end here is super nice. The edit on the music is extremely well executed. Yes, also this. Oh yeah, true. That I guess would fit to creativity. I like that they used some speech here. I'm not sure where this is from. That's actually really cool. With a piano version of Gangsta's Paradise in the beginning with the speech. Before this kicks off for real. Once the car crashes out. That's actually really creative. That's kind of it though. I think creativity is a B+. It's definitely good. Definitely a lot of stuff here that makes it memorable, but not as much as with the other ones, where it felt like every 5 seconds we've seen something that I've never seen before, right? Representation. How well does this represent the game? I would actually say pretty well. It actually almost underrepresents the game. It doesn't show off the customization. I mean, you do see customized cars, but customization is obviously a big part of the game. And you don't really see the act of customization. So I actually think in a way it underrepresents the game. I will say it kind of puts the cops in the foreground at the end. When the cops don't mean shit in this game. Like, it definitely made the cop interactions seem more impactful than they actually are. Right? And it didn't really give you a good idea what the story is even about. Which I guess might be fine for a launch trailer. So I'm not really feeling it on representation. I think it represents the style of the game and what it's going for, yada yada, so it's definitely not bad. But I think it... Once again, the focus is too much on the cops, which don't play a role in the game. Customization, I think, could have maybe had a bit more of a... I'm kind of thinking back to the Juice trailer. So So I think a representation, I'm only giving this like a B. Lukewarm B. So putting this together, final grade. I'm feeling another A-, I think, on this. I'm very fair today, I think. Yep, feel good about that one. A- on the 2015 trailer. Amazing trailer. Not much to complain about. Definitely iconic for a reason. It makes the game look way cooler than it actually is. That's another thing. Okay. So we continue with The Crew. This is now The Crew 2 trailer. Cinematic announcement trailer. I actually don't remember this one at all. This is one that I have probably seen when it came out, but I never went back to it. I don't remember anything, but it got actually requested a couple times. So it has something going for it, I'm sure. Let's see. Ooh.
Hey, here's your chance.
Ooh. I remember that from the game. Our horse is in The Crew too. Ah, man. Nice. Man, dude, there's so much cool shit here. Cops that are missing in the game? Did I miss the cops? Okay. That was the trailer though. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, I didn't expect it to be that good. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know who's doing the Crew trailers, but they know what they're doing. They're clearly the same dudes. Golden Gate Bridge scene. Really? What was it? Here. Yeah, okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay. If this isn't another A+ in cinematography, I don't know what is. I almost don't want to go to back to the video because it's pointless. Every shot is interesting. And like the whole warping world, actually like insanely good. Like I don't even need to show any particular shots. You've seen the trailer. Everything was interesting. Every shot was interesting in some kind of way. Nothing felt boring or generic about this trailer. Like at all. Except one thing, we'll get to that. Yeah, same with the editing. There were a lot of really interesting things here where the shots kind of transitioned into each other. Right? Like here. Like the scene changes, but the composition of the shot remains the same. Which is really cool. The trailer has done this a couple of times. I think it did it here again. Yeah. How it kind of moves to the back of the rider here, and then boom. They could have arranged these shots in any order, but they still decided to do it this way because this is good editing. Yeah. I don't have anything like super insane to say about the editing, I think. There were a couple of clever ideas here, and I think the shots really flow together nicely. Nothing like overstays its welcome. This I think is cool because this is the cover. I'm not sure if I should count this towards editing, creativity. It's kind of a bit of everything. Nothing like super surprising though. I think the first Crew trailer had more interesting editing. Also the 2015 trailer. So I think editing I'm only giving like a B+. It's decent and inoffensive, but nothing super creative that stands out. Music choice. What are we thinking music choice? I wasn't really hooked on the song. I guess since the game is about America, right? At least to a certain degree. An American car culture. It fits in that sense. But the song was really generic. It was the most generic rock song you could probably come up with. And I think, honestly, considering how much action there was in this trailer, I think the song was not carrying that action very well. So music choice, I think I'll give a C-. I wasn't really a fan of the song. I think compared to what we had in the trailer earlier, I'm glad I watched the other, the Crew 1 trailer now. Night and day difference. I think the trailer there had got me way more excited, and it was such a unique song I've never heard before. Like such a unique mix of genres. And this was just like a fairly generic, American rock song. Not horrible, but I think there would have been way better songs to use. Super creative trailer though. I think creativity is an A. The entire warping world, actually maybe not A+, just a regular A. The entire warping world here and how the shots kind of like smoothly transition into each other, especially the last one here. Super cool. I didn't really care too much about the social media stuff here. You could maybe consider that somewhat creative. That probably has more to do with representation, which is kind of after that. It's a nice trailer, for sure, in terms of like creativity. I think the entire warping world thing is kind of what really sets it apart. So yeah, definitely. I think for that alone, it already deserves an A. Like, must have been insanely hard to pull off as well. How well does it represent the game, though? So the main thing about the Crew 2 is just the different disciplines. That's kind of the main thing that game has going for it, and it's probably the main thing it really wants to go for. There's a Black Panther cameo in the social media. I didn't even catch that. Okay, it's kind of fun. So I guess in that sense, it is well represented, especially how the cast just kind of like switch all the time, which is something you can do in the game, even if it's not really used very often. So that's good. Cops in the trailer, someone pointed out, those are not in the game. Period. Those are not in the game. The entire game basically being a sort of festival. I mean, maybe that's not accurate, but you know what I mean, right? Like, there's like some kind of like some organization. Like you're operating under some kind of like racing sports organization, not represented. The social media aspect in the game is very insignificant, and it was kind of the main point of the trailer. Right? Like the entire social media thing was kind of the whole point behind the trailer. It's not relevant in the game. It's just the progression system, what the progression system is called. So I'm not really feeling it on the representation, if I'm being honest. I think the only thing it really represented well from the game was the different vehicle classes and how you can switch to them. And also the warping world, which I gave massive plus points for in the creativity department, wasn't really used in the game. Only for a small handful of races. So, like, representation, I'm giving this like a B-. It's not horrible. You get a decent idea of what the game is about, but it's not weighed properly, I think. So what do I feel overall about the Crew 2? I think a B+. It isn't the strongest trailer that we've had so far, I think. But it had some peak cinematography and was really creative. I just said there are a few things about it that I just not even didn't like, except maybe the song, but just didn't really stand out to me as like particularly interesting. So I think B+ is fair. Good trailer though. I think B+ is still decent grade. Definitely, once again, makes the game look way cooler than it actually is. Okay, next one. We already know what this is. We already know what this is gonna be. I've seen it. You've seen it. We don't even need to watch it. But here's the GT4 introduction. Is that a trailer? It doesn't matter. It's trailers and intros. Anything cinematic from racing games. It's called Sponsor Skip Thunder or something. Sponsor Block. Yeah. This one's just as good as I remember, man. Oh yeah. Holy shit, dude. Okay, how do you not get goosebumps watching this? Seriously. Oh man. Holy shit. Holy editing! They're showing off. Totally forgot about that car. I love that they show more quirky cars in these two. Damn! Yeah, I think we just witnessed peak once again. Not JD, I don't. Bomb sound effect at the end. Okay. Let's just make this quick. Cinematography is A+. Actually, I think there are maybe some shots that aren't like anything special. I think a general A is okay. I think a straight A is fine. Way more than enough here. That is super cool. Editing though, I would give A+. There wasn't a ton here, but what was there was super cool. I love all of the color filters they use, especially here, like the strong vignette. And they just do a lot to make all of these shots look really visually interesting, right? Especially here. Like what they did with the colors and the lighting here works so well with the music. You can tell they listened to the music first, right? And then this entire thing here, which looked insane. You have all of these, what are these, like, all of the, look at us. This is the cars, dude. I never even noticed this. Those are all of the different car names that come together to form the GT logo. I don't want to know how much effort it took to put that together. That's ridiculous. And then obviously the editing on the montage is definitely more than fine. Yeah, editing A+, 100%. I don't want to know how long some of these things took to make. Music choice, let's be real, another A+. Mainly because they also use 2 songs, right? There's actually 2 songs. You have the opera type song in the beginning, which is a bold choice for a racing game, but totally works for what they were showing off. And then obviously the orchestral Moon Over the Castle is a peak song. How could this not be A+? It's perfect. Creativity. I think I'm gonna have to give this another A+. Simply for this here. The spinning shot around the GT40. No, the regular GT, regular 4GT. With the scenery changing all the time. Then these shots here, which I'm not even sure if those are real shots or CGI. And how the 4GT just slowly prepares to start racing. You see the driver putting on, you know, with the helmet here, putting down the visor. The pit stop, and then like everything kicks off. No one has ever done that again. A+. And it's so cool. And so interesting. And representation? Like, here's the thing. There's things about the Gran Turismo games that I genuinely don't think you can show off well in a trailer. Or an intro. How do you want to show off the career mode? How do you want to show off the photoscapes mode? It's not possible. And I don't think it really matters anyways. Because primarily Gran Turismo is about the driving and the cars and the variety of the cars. And everything you saw here, all the locations, all the cars, it's all in the game. But let me tell you why I'm not just giving this an A, but an A+ for representation. Because the way the montage looked, right? These shots here. That is how your replays look in the game. Right? That is how you can get the game to look exactly like this trailer. If you watch a replay. Maybe not all the shots are like exactly like they are in these specific locations. Right? But generally, you can definitely see shots like this if you watch the replay mode. And that is insanely cool. The interaction with the cam spinning around the GT are all photoscapes. See, I didn't even know that. That makes it even more justified. So literally every single thing you see here, except maybe this. I will say like the one thing... Actually, not even. I was kind of thinking, isn't it kind of bad representation that they show a pit stop like this? But then I remembered, no. They added fully animated pit stops in this game. So even this is good representation. They weren't capping here either. I mean, maybe the crowd is a little bit capped, but... It's in the game. Everything here is in the game. This is the escapes. Okay, maybe this is a bit capped, but this is just like a complimentary shot. I'm okay with that. But pit stops are in the game. You can see your driver model. Also not a thing you were able to do in GT3, I think. You have a driver model, which you can see. And once again, all of these shots are basically what the replays look like. It's A+. This is amazing representation of the game. Like, holy shit. Yeah, and also the driver is actually animated in the game if you're driving a convertible car. Right? Like, it is the game if you tear it apart, yeah. Like, it's a perfect trailer. It shows off the game as it is. And even it uses gameplay footage, or at least in-engine footage. Right? It wasn't all cinematic. Most of the trailers we've seen here, like the crew trailers, as cool as they are, they're not gameplay. This was gameplay. At least I think it might have been. Right? Like, it's almost perfect. Right? And yeah, you can say, yeah, but that's you're just fucking biased because it's GT. Yeah, but this is why I am biased towards GT. Right? This is the kind of trailer you watch and think, damn, that looks cool, I want to play it. and you get the experience. I will admit, okay, maybe the trailer makes the game look a little more exciting than it actually is, because GT games are actually more the chill side. Unless you're doing like really hard races with fast cars. It's actually more of a chill game. Doesn't matter to me though. At that point we're just talking about vibes, and that's super, super subjective. But this was peak. Okay. We're moving on to Need for Speed Underground intro. This one's also super iconic. Oh man. I remember seeing this as a kid. Oh yeah. It's actually really bad compared to GT4. Because it's Need for Speed, dude. This just hit the zeitgeist. Oh yeah. Oh no, we moved on too far. Oh boy, okay. Yeah, it also came out before GT4. Okay, that was that was just as good as I remembered. Probably even more so, actually. Style with cinematography, A+. So, once again, I think every shot was cool. All of the shots that kind of like go and show off the interior parts of the car and how they're being built here, right? How the wheels are, how everything is kind of like tacked on. Could argue that's maybe more editing. But then also these shots are super cool and interesting. And it makes the cars look really fast. How this kind of like, how the camera goes into the car here. Super sick. Also this, like all of the action shots. Every shot is interesting. This is interesting, right? This is interesting. This looks interesting. None of these are boring. This looks interesting. Camera goes under the traffic car. Cars start drifting. You see them from the side. This looks interesting. Every shot is extremely interesting here. How is this not an A+? Talking about editing. I think all of the effects they added to these parts here look rad. Looks absolutely, absolutely rad. How the wrap kind of like, see, forms here. Super sick. I love the way everything looks, like in terms of colors and contrast. Looks super nice. It's just a visually appealing trailer, right? Once again, you could pick any shot here and it looks nice. If it wasn't for the horrible compression, I guess. Also, how it works in tandem with the music here. Like the editing is really well put together with the music. So yeah. And then at the end you have the this effect here. Which looks sick, dude. How the entire world warps behind the car. The car smashes into the camera, shows off the logo. For standards of the time, this is A+ editing. This is some of the most high-tech cool shit you've seen in terms of editing for its time. You can tell this, like they put a lot of like budget effort into this. Music choice, I think, is also an A. No, actually also A+. Oh boy. Okay, here we go. No, actually, okay. I'll give it an A. Not an A+, because I think for an A+, it needs to have its own identity. This is just a song that was popular at the time. It's really good because it fits, right? It fits really well to the atmosphere. And it's like a nice mix of like hip-hop and electronic music, which is kind of the dominant, or two of the dominant music genres in the game. And it's a good song, man. Like, it gets you going. Even if it's old, even if it's cheesy, who cares? I think it works really well for the trailer and fits with the visuals. Creativity, easily another A. Not another A. The car being assembled like this. They did that exact same thing in the Crew trailer, right? This trailer did it first, 10 years earlier. B plus, because we're not talking about like the style of the game or whatever. We're talking about like how the game is represented in terms of how creative the scenes are. I don't care that this is vibe-wise similar to Fast and Furious. Does not matter. That's got more to do with the game and less with the intro. What I care about is, do they show off the game in a way that's interesting? Like, for example, how the car gets assembled together, and how also it shows like the interior of the car is cool constantly. How it shows various things that you wouldn't really think about. I think is cool. And also how it's basically a one-on-one race that ends with a drawbridge where the other driver pussies out, right? Also super cool. It's just a really creative trailer. I like it. Compare trailer to just the game. Yeah, that's what we're doing in representation. So in terms of representation, it shows off the customization, shows off the street racing. It's a one-on-one race, which you can actually do in the game. It's just kind of rare. Doesn't show any of the... Actually, I'm not sure. The lady in the game, was that supposed to be Melissa? I don't think the car that they showed is in the game particularly. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a stand-in for the player. Melissa is blonde, yes? No joke? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to think about representation. I think representation I would give A minus, because might be beta, might be a different design for the same Melissa in their game. It's not really explicitly stated, but that's also, at that point we're kind of talking conspiracy theories. I think it's a really solid representation of what the game is actually about and what it's like, what the vibes are like, what you can do with the customization. Like, even that they showed the engine parts of the car, you can change that in the game. Like, when you upgrade your engine in the game, it changes. Like, the engine parts change, right? So that's cool representation. You would think they just kind of put that in the trailer, but no, you know? So that's actually good. So I think it's good. It's only like it kind of puts the focus on the characters a little too much. So you think, okay, character's gonna be relevant. It's just a random chick. Doesn't really matter. So that's kind of it. Also, the drawbridge at the end is in the game. Also good, right? The drawbridge at the end. It's just that the opponents don't pussy out of those. That doesn't happen. It would kind of make you think that if you're daring enough, you can win by doing like a risky jump. The thing is, the jump in the game is not risky, and all of the opponents do them, right? So that's like the only minus I would give. It's really only minor stuff, which is why it's still an A, but only minus. Overall, definitely an A. Great, straight A trailer. Or intro, I guess. It's not the trailer, it's the intro for the game. Shows off what the game is about. It's super cool, strikes you. There's a reason why it's iconic. Definitely a good one. Okay. So we move on now to Gran Turismo 2's opening. We're back to Gran Turismo. We're going back and forth with these. Alright. Textures round bending. Maybe. I don't think I've ever seen this, if I'm being honest. Damn. Oh, this is supposed to be Rome. Just click for me. I can tell the shots are definitely a bit more basic because the hardware didn't allow for it. And once again, replays. It's all replays. Really shows you all of the different casts that the game has, man. They don't see too often. I think they showed a lot of these off. Because I think colors is definitely this game's biggest strength. I don't think the cars sound like this in the game. Let's be real. Okay. That was a nice watch. Now, before anyone says, you reacted to the wrong trailer. Yeah, I know. There are different versions of this intro movie with other songs. I am aware. The reason why I chose to react to this one and why I'm grading this one in particular, not the one with my favorite game, is because number one, copyright. If I can dodge it, I will. And number two, this is like, to me, the intended version. Because you have to remember that these games primarily made in Japan, made by Japanese people for Japanese market, right? Like, to me, this is like the intended one, and then they swap out the songs to appeal more to other markets. Right? Does that make sense? It's obviously still the same trailer, and they obviously intentionally put other songs in there. Like, they don't just pick a random song, they pick one that fits. But to me, the Japanese ones are the ones that are more intentional for me personally. So, cinematography. I wasn't feeling super hot on this. Cool choice to put in historical scenes of racing and mixing it with various like environmental shots. I think this drags a little bit. Just a little bit. And then honestly, like, there were some interesting shots here. Some interesting camera shots. Not all of it was super interesting. Sometimes you actually have no idea what you're looking at, like right here. Like, not every shot landed here. Also, a lot of emphasis on spelling out, yeah. I think cinematography, I'm giving this a B. It's okay. Now, editing. The opening shot was really cool, actually. I think it's interesting how color-wise this kind of fits initially. Like, you have like these black and white, mostly black and white shots that kind of mirror the history things, and then over time there's gradually more color added. I'm not sure if that's something you caught, but I actually think that's cool. How they gradually add more colors to these scenes. And And speaking of color, they play around with a lot of color filters here in these scenes. It makes all of them look really dark though. Like on a lot of these, you can hardly really see what's going on. Like the blacks are really exaggerated here on pretty much all of this. Now this could be a problem with the video maybe. I'm not sure. They do make nice use of motion blur and stuff, which is pretty cool looking, honestly. And then you have the end, obviously. I think it just fades to white here. Yeah, it's okay. I don't think the editing is anything special, but nothing super inoffensive. I'm probably giving this another B. Music choice, though. This piano in the beginning had me emotional. That is insanely good. An insanely interesting hook. And then obviously you have Moon Over the Castle once again. I think this is a more rough version. I think for GT4 they re-recorded this and it sounds a little bit nicer in the GT4 intro. It's still really good though. And music choice, I'll give it an A for sure. Once again, I think only the version of Moon Over the Castle still sounds a little bit rough. But the piano in the beginning, super nice. Creativity. I think focusing on the history of racing for Gran Turismo, which is not all about that, but it's important to Gran Turismo, is a really cool idea. And showing off just the various parts of the track here, which I think this is clearly supposed to be Rome, which is in the game. We'll get to that later. Definitely cool. And then showing off a bunch of like in-game shots. Like I think this is still interesting. I think there could have been a little bit more. I think the GT4 intro showed off just more in general, right? There was more stuff I think in it. It's still cool though. So I think creativity, I'm giving this an A-. Representation. Okay, once again, plus points. I think all of the replays in the game look like the montage, or at least close to what the montage looked like. A+ representation there. I think it gives players slightly the wrong idea that they focus so much on old racing in the beginning, because there's none of that in the game. There are no classic race cars from like the 1930s, 1940s. Aren't even mentioned anywhere. That's something that GT Sports started doing, where you had this entire racing history museum. I think that might give people the wrong idea. The rest was, once again, just gameplay. So all the cars you see are in the game, all the locations you see in the game, yada yada. So yeah, representation, I'm feeling a B+. It's just the caveat that I think it might get misinterpreted, that the focus is way more on on like classical racing. So how are we feeling overall on this? I think overall this averages out to a B+, which is a good grade, but definitely you can tell that the GT4 trailer had a lot more going for it. A lot more interesting shots, a lot more interesting cinematography, a lot more better represented the game overall. But like you can tell that this was kind of like a draft of what they wanted to go for later on. So definitely a good one, and honestly I think for its time definitely holds up pretty well as well, I would say. Good trailer. Alright. Next we have the trailer for Blur. February 2010 Xbox 360 trailer. Don't think I'm familiar with this. Let's see. Oh boy! Ooh. Oh, that's nice, dude. Oh, man. I've never seen this. How have I never seen this? This is rad. Oh, now I want to play Blur, dude. I need to play this game again. I haven't played it in ages. It's so good. And the soundtrack in this game was so good too. Yeah, okay. Oh, nice way to end the song there too. Yeah, I didn't notice the audio was a bit too late, so we have to keep that in mind. Yeah, that was pretty peak. Holy shit, how have I never seen this? That was insanely good. Thanks to everyone who suggested this. Yeah, okay, let's try to pull this apart. I think not most shots are cool. Like, all of these are cool here. I think not every shot landed. There were a few that looked a little bit meh, like this one here. I don't know. How this kind of turns into slow motion in time with the song, rad. How some of these shots stop, rad. Yeah, like for example, this shot is kind of whatever. That's kind of whatever. Some of these are just not super dynamic. Like a lot of these just kind of are like, some of these, I don't want to say a lot of these, some of these are just kind of meh. So much going on though, and the camera work for the most part is really good. A minus. And also like what also counts to cinematography is not just camera, but also what's going on in the trailer. You might think this looks way too intense. Like, no way there's this much happening in the race. Bullshit. There is actually this much happening in the race. We'll get to representation later. But there was so much action in this trailer. Cars getting hit left and right, cars flying all over the place. Like, absolute mayhem, which also made it way more interesting. So that's actually also good for cinematography. So much going on all the time. Like, and also all the effects looked amazing. Editing was really good. There wasn't anything like that really like super hard stood out to me, personally. It was really well edited to the music. If this was not out of sync, it would probably hit a little bit better. However, this here was cool. That they chose to slow down the music for these scenes here. That is actually a really cool decision, and I think really makes the trailer come together. And then have it speed up again. Or rather, actually, it builds up and then it kind of drops down, and then the lower drops in. This looks cool too, by the way. This must have taken a lot of effort to make it look like this. There isn't like a whole ton going on with the editing. It's more like good pacing. But there isn't anything like super amazingly creative about it. So I think I'll give this a B+ in editing. Music choice A. Actually, like that song like goes so unbelievably hard. You can maybe once again make the argument, okay, well, it wasn't anything unique. That's why I'm not giving it another plus. But music went super hard, and it really shows off like how aggressive this game can be. And also the song was in the game, I remember. And it's actually a really good one too, in my opinion at least. So music choice definitely an A, fits, and also like all the chaos on the that we saw in the trailer. I think the song really like helped elevate it to a higher degree as well. So definitely A in terms of music choice. In terms of creativity, I don't think there was anything that really stood out to me. It's interesting that they showed it off with this dude here, whoever he is. Although he didn't really have anything of value to say. It's a fairly standard action trailer. Once again, I like that they slowed down the music here. To kind of like amplify it and then, you know, kind of do it like this. Nothing super creative. It's not creatively bankrupt. I think the creativity is mainly saved by the game itself and all the effects. So I think a creativity, I'm only giving this a B-. I think there could have been more. That's the worst B I've ever written. Holy. Okay, that's a little better. There wasn't really anything super creative here, but it was okay. Burnout 3 intro is still coming. Representation. So, as I said earlier, if this trailer looked way too intense, you're wrong. That's how intense the racing is in this. Especially in multiplayer. So that one, spot on. Also, all of these scenes were in-game. There was not any CGI used, so that's definitely plus point for that. That's all real gameplay. The only thing that rubbed me the wrong way is just the beginning here. However, I think that has more to do with like Blur had like an entire story with actual like animated cutscenes that got cut. So So this, I think, is not really representing the final product. There is no narrative here. You have bosses, so you could maybe give this a pass a little bit. But other than that, this is the game. This is how it plays, and this, in fact, this is how it feels to play the game too. And this is what the game looks like, which is cool. Like, I think that actually says something positive about the game, that you can make a trailer that looks and feels this cool, and all they had to do is just show off the game. All they had to do is just show some scenes in the game and kind of move the camera around in some interesting ways. Its representation, A-. Was it not for that initial scene with the dude? Straight, yeah, we've been a straight A, maybe even A+ if I'm being honest. So if we put all this together, what would I give this? I mean, editing creativity kind of averages out to a B, which would turn into a B+ or A- with the straight A. So I think overall final grade is still an A-. Really surprised me how good that trailer was. How have I never seen that before? That's the kind of, like, I said it during, while watching it, like, now I want to play Blur again. And I think that's, like, the best thing a trailer can do is to get you want to play the game, right? And I actually think with this trailer, I wouldn't have been disappointed either. I wouldn't have been like, oh man, the game is actually not as good. Although I guess that doesn't really matter except for in terms of representation. That was a good-ass trailer. Hot damn. Okay. How many more do we react to today? I would say, how many have we reacted to? So this is number 9. Let's do 10. Let's cap it off at 10. What time is it actually? Yeah, let's cap it off at 10. Let's have the next one be the last one for today. Stuntman Ignition. A game I have not actually played yet, so I actually know nothing. So in terms of representation, I probably can't grade this properly. But I'll try. Let's have a watch first.
Every mangled mass of steel has a story to tell. A tale of speed.
Oh, cool.
Talent, style. And a driver willing to risk it all to create Hollywood's greatest moments.
Damn. Ooh.
Man Ignition.
Okay, dude. Now I'll play this game. I have not played this. Yeah, I still have the game. I actually have a copy of the game for the 360. We could play it. Okay, that was really cool. Holy crap. So cinematography, I'm definitely giving this an A+. Which might seem a little bit overdone, but once again, I think everything was interesting here. Like, you have the initial shot of the car here being lifted up, and then this transition. This is partially editing, which we'll also get to. But once again, all of these shots look interesting. There was nothing boring here. Everything looked super dynamic. And how these shots are kind of like put together is really well. This could almost pass as like a one-shot. And then you have this at the end here. With the explosion, the car driving over the camera, leaving behind, I guess, some piece of debris here. Smacks the camera, which is where you'll see the logo. This is perfect cinematography. This is what really flashed me. Editing, I think I would also give this like a really high grade in editing because of all of these like cool transitions here. Right? Like, no shot link is on for too long. There's nothing super flashy. But all of these transitions, man, like, look at all of this. Right? Like, you have to make sure that this looks right if you edit this. Like, if you go frame by frame. See how this works here? It's so smooth. Like, you can't see the transitions. The fact that all of these transitions are so buttery smooth is really impressive. There wasn't anything super interesting other than that, though. But I think that alone... Oh yeah, I guess this was cool. Right? How the debris flies against the... You can even see that it already says, like... Was this a transition here? Or did it actually show the logo on the piece of debris here? Either way. Good editing. Nothing like super insane though. But I think the transitions are so unbelievably smooth that I'll give this an A-. Music choice. I actually did not pay attention to music. I have to listen again. I mean...
And a driver moments.
It doesn't really like... It's kind of like a background track. I think music choice is fine. But it's nothing like game changing or something that really like catches your ear, if you will. So I think music choice I'll only give a B-. It's good, it fits. If you pay attention to it, it's actually kind of nice. But the fact that I had to go back and listen because I didn't remember, I think says a lot. Creativity. Yeah, once again, all of these like smooth transitions are super interesting. I actually liked this here the most. How you have the junkyard and then the entire scene is basically the same, right? But it's a different location. Like the building looks pretty much the same, but it's a different location altogether. That gives a different vibe. Also, I like the chickens here. They look goofy. That's really that's A for effort. How you have the cops just kind of like doing this here is really cool. That you actually have the cops being animated here and they have like a reaction to what's going on is super fun. And I already talked plenty about the transitions. And this at the end here with the explosion and the piece of the car just kind of driving over the camera, a piece of debris that shows off the title. Very creative. Not all the way through though. I think creativity, I'll give this an A-. Now in terms of representation, I can't say anything. Since I didn't play the game. I did watch some people play it, but I think you guys are gonna have to give it a grade. So the few of you that did play it. I assume most of what you saw you can pull off in the game. I think from what I remember, this game is kind of mission based, right? So you have like small bite-sized missions that you tackle. Are all of the scenes in this trailer, or do all of the scenes in the trailer resemble missions in the game? Like, is there, for example, a cop chase in this game where you have to do this a huge jump? Is there like a post-apocalyptic scene in the game? And is there something where you have to drive like a tank with a minigun? If all of that's in the game, it's an A+. If not, then not really. Less fire and lava? I don't think there's a scrapyard in the game. It's more of a vehicle to connect to the other scenes. Okay. The volcanic one is the first movie you do, actually. Okay. So it sounds like it's pretty accurate then. There's only like the scrapyard location, but that was the opening shot, so I'm almost okay with it. Majority of the stuff's in the game minus the two-wheel and ending. Okay. So I think it's pretty accurate. I mean, it shows off exactly what your job is and what you're doing in the game. In that sense. It's just not, it takes some creative liberties in what it actually like exactly depicts. Like the two-wheel driving. Sprinkles things that dramatize somewhat for a trailer, but much of what you can do in the game is far off. Okay, then I think that's an A-. It gives a good idea. I don't think there's like any major any major misunderstandings with what would be in the game. Like for example, once again, like with the GT2 trailer we just watched, I think a lot of people could get the wrong idea that you can drive historical cars in the game that are not there. Or for example, with the Crew 2 trailer, which literally showed cops, which aren't in the game, right? I don't think there was anything here where you would say, oh, that's not in the game at all, except like minor stuff, for example, two-wheel driving. But that stuff I don't think most people would even pay close attention to. That's not like a point where people will pause and say you can drive from two wheels in this game, right? It's just like a small thing. Like once again, creative liberty. So I'll give this an A-. So overall, what are we feeling? I think this is another... Yeah, an A-. A- trailer for sure. Good for sure. I think with a better song, this could have been a straight A. If the song... Which, I mean... Once again, I'm kind of talking out of my ass here because I didn't play the game. Maybe this song fits perfectly to the game, and you couldn't have used anything else. But I think even if you use like a cinematic action movie song, that could have probably been something like more interesting. There's two-wheel driving in the game, just not in the lava level. Okay, but then that literally doesn't matter, I think. Like at that point, we're actually like arguing about semantics here. I don't think that's super important. If you can do both, that's fine. Like it doesn't have to like repeat the missions in the game step by step. It's just about like other contents that are shown in the trailer and the things you can do actually in the game. If both is in the game, just not in the same mission, I think that's fine. Okay. So yeah, A-. We've only watched good trailers today. I'm actually really, really happy with what we watched. Really, really happy with what we watched today. All of these have been bangers. 100%. Even of games that I don't really like that much, like The Crew 2 or Need for Speed 2015, banger trailers. I can actually appreciate these in isolation and rewatch these if I want to. But yeah, we're gonna continue next time with Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift, Need for Speed Rivals, Dirt, and a bunch of other games. Can I share a link to the playlist? Of course. I'm not sure. Actually, it's private. I have to unprivate it. First, let me see if I can do that. Unlisted. Should be fine. Yeah, if you want to watch some of these trailers yourself, I'll post it in the chat. Alright, and I think that shall be it for today. Thank you guys for hanging out. Much appreciated. I'm gonna grab some dinner. And I'll see you guys probably again on Saturday. Either Saturday or Sunday. I haven't decided yet. Probably Saturday though. So yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out. Much appreciated. And I'll hopefully see you again next time. Take care. Take it easy. And as always, peace. See you guys.